We meet again at last. The circle is now complete.
What's the world coming to?
Well, you got a problem with what I did, Anthony?
Oh, no. Hey, no.
Fucking rat anyways. Whole family's all rats. Would have grew up to be a rat.
Stupid bastard. I can't fucking believe it.
Gee, I'm real sorry your mom blew up, Ricky.
Now you're gonna dig the fucking thing. You're gonna dig the hole. You're gonna do it. I got no fucking line. You're gonna do it.
Yes, I'll take the fucking hole. I don't give a fuck.
I realized that what was living behind that boy's eyes was pure and simply evil.
Jesus Christ. Mister, you okay in there?
Put some Vintage coffees around here someplace.
Have you any idea what the cost of your actions is? What their effect might be? Or are you to give them hope? What do you give them? We give them happiness. And they give us authority. Groovy.
What's going on, all you wild film enthusiasts? Logan Myerz back here for the Cinephellas Podcast, episode 111. Oh my goodness, 111 episodes? We've made it this far, so thank you for listening and following us in this journey. The past 6 years, we're having a great time and many more projects ahead of us. Today, I had the opportunity to interview the writer-director George Gallo. And you may be familiar with his work. This guy's been in the industry for a long time. He worked in the Wise Guys film back in the day with Danny DeVito, Joe Piscopo. Also, he's notorious and known for Midnight Run with Robert De Niro and Charles Grodin. He also wrote the original Bad Boys film that came out in 1995. But today, I'm going to talk to him about his brand new film, Vanquish, starring Ruby Rose and his good friend, Morgan Freeman. Of course, Mr. Freeman doesn't need any introduction. He's been in a million films over the years and definitely one of my favorite actors in the business. But this time around, it's a bit of a different role for Morgan Freeman. Being more of like a retired cop bad guy. Synopsis of the film is a mother, Victoria, is trying to put her dark past as a Russian drug courier behind her, and retired cop Damon forces Victoria to do his bidding by holding her daughter hostage. Ooh! Talk about wild. And the main actress, Victoria, is played by Ruby Rose, who may be familiar with her work, Orange is the New Black. But really a phenomenal performance. Had a great time with this film. Lionsgate put out this film. You guys may know this company from the John Wick films, and this is a really great entry for George Gallo as director and writer. So today I talked to George about writing and directing this film, where he came up with the concept, working with the cast being Ruby Rose, and working with his good friend Morgan Freeman that he's worked with in the past. Had some funny stories to share about old Uncle Morgan Freeman, and dived into some other questions about filmmaking and working with other huge name actors in the business. So really great conversation. Had a great time talking to George Gallo, huge fan of his. So that being said, here is my interview with Mr. George Gallo. Hopefully you all enjoy it. Let's get to it, shall we? Hey George, how you doing?
Hi, how are you?
Not too bad, surviving here in the Chicagoland area. What about yourself?
I'm doing okay. I'm out here in L.A. Where in Chicago? Are you in like Chicago proper, or are you on the outskirts?
On the outskirts, yeah, the suburbs.
Okay. No, I know Chicago pretty well. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, I used to live in the north side by Wrigleyville where the Cubs play, and now I live in the suburbs.
Sure. Oh, the Cubs. Yeah. I was my friend, one of my dearest friends is a Chicago Cubs fan. And about 20 years ago, he drew me into the nightmare of caring about the Chicago Cubs, which finally paid off in the end. But, man, every season we watch the games together on TV, and I'm like, and I got so drawn into it and so miserable. And I was like, this is the most masochistic pastime on earth, and then finally in the end it all paid off like a terrific, movie story, But that was the Cubbies, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think I'd ever win a World Series in my lifetime, and they finally did, and I shed some tears. It was tears of joy, that's for sure.
I did too. I really did. It was great.
They won the World Series about 4 days after I got married, so I was on my honeymoon in Colorado, and we were watching the game in our hotel room. It was awesome.
Wow, that's a great story. Wow, good for you.
Yeah, they're in the World Series actually during our wedding, and we kept checking the score, and it was pretty insane.
Hysterical. That is hysterical. That's great.
Yeah, I told my wife, I'm like, give me a few minutes. Let me go check the score. I'll be right back.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
It's great. But, yeah, it's just an honor to talk to you today. I'm a huge fan of your work, you know, Bad Boys, Midnight Run, and obviously the new film Vanquish. So it's an honor to talk to you. So as a writer-director of this film, where did you come up with the concept?
Well, originally there was another screenplay that Sam Bartlett wrote, and he wrote a terrific script. It ended up evolving quite a bit, you know, during it. I took a pass at it, and then even through shooting, it kept evolving and changing, and so it was sort of an interesting process, you know, from the page to the screen. You know, like a lot of the locations in the screenplay were written they were different. You know, but you know, I've said this in other interviews, like, you know, that creepy place she goes in, that warehouse with all that stuff in it, the clown faces and all that. Yeah, I mean, that was an actual warehouse, a rental house, because we shot in Mississippi, and that was a warehouse where they did rentals for carnivals. And we were actually renting some props from there. And the production designer, Joe Lemon, said to me, you want to see this big warehouse with all this stuff in it. And I went in the warehouse with him and the cinematographer. We all looked at each other and said, we got to shoot that scene in here. This place is incredible, you know? So there was a lot of stuff like that in this movie where we would, like, you know, the location manager would take us to a location and we would walk it. We'd go, yeah, I don't know, I've only seen this 1,000 times. You know, where can we do this a little different? And, you know, things just kept presenting themselves, and that's how a lot of the movie was made.
And that's exactly what nightmares are made of, that warehouse.
Yes, exactly. Like Morgan Freeman's house in the movie, that gigantic place with all the windows and stuff. You know, in the script, it was not a house at all like that, you know. But, you know, again, Joe Lemon, the production designer, he found that house and he said, George, you think, because I've done a lot of movies with Joe, he said, George, this house looks nothing like what you talked about in the script, but you want to take a look at it because it's really terrific. And I went inside and I said, wow, this place is amazing. You know, I mean, with that big dome ceiling and all the glass. And I knew it was going to be a nightmare for the cinematographer because they don't like glass all that much because of all the reflections. But, you know, I said, oh, it's too good to pass up, you know. So, again, that's a lot of how the movie was made. We got lucky to some degree in that we kept finding all these bizarre places and wonderful locations.
That's the beauty of filmmaking, isn't it?
It is the beauty of filmmaking. It's especially the beauty of independent filmmaking because you don't have to go through a committee of 50 people. You know, so like here it was just like you just would tell the producer, hey, I want to change locations, and he'd say, good, do it. You know?
Absolutely. With that being said, do you think when writing the story and the characters, the final product of the movie turned out better than your original vision?
Yeah, I do think so. I think that because we had a lot of very creative people all working on this. A lot of times, you know, when you're making an independent movie, you know, everybody is there for the right reason, you know, because you're not getting there to get rich. You know, you're getting there because you really want to make a terrific movie, and you want to do it away from the confines, you know, of a studio, you know. And so Morgan's there for the right reasons. Ruby's there because she wants to do something great. I'm there because I want to try to push the envelope to the best of my ability. The cinematographer's there because he's not going to get a note from anybody saying this is looking too bizarre, you know, because we definitely push it here and there, you know, and so yes, I absolutely think the final product is, far exceeded what we originally had when we started. We just kept allowing each other to do their best work.
This is a role I haven't seen Morgan Freeman in before, especially Ruby Rose. So with that being said, did they follow your direction, or was it more like collaborative process working with them?
Well, this is my third movie with Morgan. We're very close friends. So, when you get to like your third movie with somebody, you don't have to say a lot anymore. They just kind of know. And it was more like pacing stuff. I kept telling everybody to slow down. Because a lot of times I think actors get into patterns where they start to spit dialogue out, and I know a lot of times directors tell actors to hurry up, but I kept saying slow down, slow down, slow down, and they would kind of say why, and I think because I want to feel the words, I want to feel what you guys are feeling, and if you're going too fast, I don't feel it. It just seems like a lot of talk. And I wanted to play a lot of silences in this movie because I think the spaces in between what they were saying was also telling to me, Their discomfort. Right. I want to feel all those moments. So other than that, I didn't say very much. I have to be honest.
That's awesome. Morgan Freeman is one of my favorite actors, so it'd be really cool to be
best. I can tell you a quick Morgan Freeman story if we have time. The first movie I did with Morgan, the very first day of shooting was with Morgan. And I had to I'm thinking to myself, how the hell do I direct Morgan Freeman? The guy's like, this genius, amazing actor. And I didn't really know him then. It was our first day working together. And he walked onto the set and he goes, okay, what do you want? I said, could you please stand by the window? I want to get a silhouette of you saying the line. And he said, okay. And then he went over and then we said action. And he does the scene flawlessly, He's Morgan Freeman.
Yeah.
So then I said, cut. And he said, any adjustments? I said, no, not really. And then he said, you and me are going to get along just fine. So after that, we were best friends.
Yeah, he comes off as a really cool guy, and I can imagine it'd be awesome to work with him and learn from him at the same time. Yeah,
he's just the greatest.
That's awesome. You have a really awesome job, working with these talented actors. You've worked with a ton over the years, so kudos to you.
I've been very lucky.
Very lucky and blessed, that's for sure. I have time for one more question. I guess it's a two-parter.
Sure.
Do you have any projects in the works, and where can we find you on social media?
Find me on social media?
Yeah.
Or find that? I didn't understand the second part of the question.
Yeah, where can we find you, like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram? Do you have any social media accounts?
I'm not on Facebook. No, I'm not really on any of that stuff. But I've got a movie coming out that I shot prior to Vanquish called The Comeback Trail. That's going to be in theaters with Robert De Niro, Tommy Lee Jones, and Morgan Freeman. And that's a much different movie than Vanquish. It's just a complete over-the-top comedy. It's really funny. It's De Niro plays a bottom-feeding movie producer in the 1970s who cannot make a dime in the movie business. So he comes up with this scheme that he's going to heavily insure an actor, Tommy Lee Jones, and try to kill him in a stunt. And they can't kill Tommy Lee Jones. He keeps surviving all these stuff. It's really funny. So that comes out in June. And then another movie, I'm hoping to make this movie next with Ruby Rose, and we're talking to Antonio Banderas to do this movie Chasing Crush, about three generations in the wine business in Napa Valley. It's a big, huge, kind of romantic film. It's sort of like the movie Giant, the Rock Hudson movie, about what that movie was to, let's say, the oil business. This movie is to the wine business.
Fantastic. Those sound like really good projects that we're going to be able to look out for. They sound really good.
Thank you, my friend.
Hey, George, it was a pleasure talking to you today. Huge fan of your work. Love the new film, Vanquish. Can't wait for everybody to see this film. And we'll get this interview posted up on our website. Keep in touch, okay?
I will call you anytime. Thank you very, very much. I mean it. Thank you.
Yeah, it was nice talking to you, George. You have a good rest of your day.
You too. Thank you.
So that was my conversation with Mr. George Gallo. I had a really great time with this interview. It was like talking to an old friend, catching up. I haven't seen in 20 years, but it was really seamless, really interesting guy, very smart man. You know, on top of working in the film industry, he's a very known painter and musician. You know, he has a creative outlet outside of the film industry, so I really looked up to that. But with that being said, his brand new film, Vanquish, put out by Lionsgate, is going to be video on demand and digital April 23rd, and then also hitting the shelves and Blu-ray and DVD on April 27th. So stay tuned for that. If you guys are really interested in this film, definitely check it out. I had a great time with it. But besides that, we got a bunch of other great content coming up. The Wild Cinephellas boys are going to be shooting our podcast, our 420 edition podcast, this upcoming Sunday, talking about our favorite stoner flicks and our favorite hits of swag resin. Besides that, we have some more interviews, podcasts, and reviews hitting the interwebs very soon. Uncle Henry and I just reviewed The Falcon and Winter Soldier episodes 3 and 4, and then also the brand new Mighty Ducks episode that are both streaming on Disney Plus right now if you guys haven't checked them out. Really great stuff. You know, Disney Plus is always putting out great content in terms of the MCU and bringing back all the nostalgic feels like the Mighty Ducks that I grew up on in the 90s. But it's for a new generation, but having a really great time with that. Seeing Emilio Estevez reprise his role as Gordon Bombay and Lauren Graham being the love interest in the show and the heart of the team as the coach. If you guys haven't already, go ahead and hit subscribe right here on our YouTube channel, like, comment, and share all the goodness of the Cinephellas. So this is Logan Myerz signing out from the Cinephellas Podcast, episode 111. Until next time, cheers!